Hello and welcome back to Cover 2 Credits. Today I'm going to be doing a double feature review. We're going to review The Mummy and we're going to review It Comes at Night. Now because I'm doing two, I'm going to set a 5-minute timer that will go off and will signal me to make sure I switch to not make this super long. And the timer will start now. So let's start with The Mummy. Starring Tom Cruise, starring Russell Crowe, starring Annabelle Wallis, starring Sophia Boutella, and Jake Johnson. Now, those are the main course. We also have Courtney B. Vance is in this, and there are other people also. We'll work through this way. I've been looking forward to the beginning of what they're calling the dark universe of movie monsters, the Universal monsters, The Mummy, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Dracula, Swamp Thing, hopefully. And there's a few other odds and ends that possibly might happen. This is the very beginning, and we're dealing with, obviously, The Mummy now. Sophia Boutella plays Aminette, who is the mummy in this movie. Interesting story about her. I thought they did that very well. They did some... like, her background was interesting. Her plot, I guess, is interesting. Like, her plan of what she was doing was interesting. The action in this movie, I thought, was better in, like, the first 2/3 of the film than in the last third. That's not to say that I didn't enjoy the movie. It's interesting when you start seeing the universe getting built. That's where Russell Crowe comes into play. And he's playing Dr. Jekyll. You do get a little sense of Mr. Hyde in this movie. I wasn't sure how they were going to do that, or if they would even do that this movie. You do see Mr. Hyde. That's not a spoiler. I was kind of underwhelmed by him. Not that I don't like Russell Crowe, and Dr. Jekyll was very good. I didn't want a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, where it's Dr. Jekyll and then like a Hulk for Mr. Hyde, but I also wasn't sure what they were going to do. He was alright, he was interesting to watch, but he wasn't great. Jake Johnson plays Tom Cruise's sidekick in this movie, does a great part. He's funny and he's good. Sophia Boutella playing the mummy was great. She again doesn't have necessarily a lot of speaking parts, but she's a very, very physical presence, kind of like she was in The Kingsman, and I thought she was great in it too. She's an interesting female action actress right now, and I've been enjoying watching her. Annabelle Wallis was a good. She plays a archaeologist, I guess archaeologist, that is part of Prodigium, and they'll get into that when you see this movie. I recommend see this movie if you're interested in the overall universe. I wasn't upset by this movie at all. I'm going to give it a 7. It's fun. It's action-packed. There's a little bit of scary to it. It's not near as campy as the Brendan Fraser Mummy, and not that it was campy. I mean, it wasn't scary either. I enjoyed this movie. It was fun. Popcorn movie. Like I said, decent action, especially in the first two halves. Interesting ending, obviously, building the universe. I wasn't sure. I had a feeling, and this is not a spoiler because I'm not leading either direction if it is or isn't. I personally had a feeling Tom Cruise would end up either being a monster or tying in to the rest of the universe, what they're calling the Dark Universe series. Even though there's a lawsuit about Dark Universe that may change the name, I don't know. We'll figure that's something else that come up. I was right and wrong with how they resolved or ended the movie. I do think we'll see more of Tom Cruise, but you need to see the movie for yourself. to know exactly what I'm talking about with that. And would you believe I finished the review with time to spare? 14 seconds. So we're going to cancel that, start it again, and we'll start talking about It Comes at Night. Now, It Comes at Night has, I believe, it has 10 people listed in the entire cast, which is kind of surprising when you see movies these days that have gigantic casts of extras and everything else. This is a very toned down, very tight family drama that deals with some kind of a sickness, possibly. A lot of what I'm going to talk about is my interpretation, because there's a lot of things in this movie that were not explained. The movie begins Joel Edgerton, his son, and his wife living in the house. House is boarded up like it's abandoned, and there's extreme security to get in and out of said house. One way in, one way out, 2 locked doors, everything else. Ends up at one point in time, there's a reason for them to go outside. Well, they go outside during the day, but there's something happens where they meet a third person. Person says, I have a family. Are you willing to help me? They say yes, bring the family back. Everybody's not sick. You open the movie with meeting a part of their family who is sick, who ends up passing away. That's no spoilers. I'm not getting into it any tighter than that. This movie is very interesting because you don't know what's going on outside of the house pretty much ever. Which is good and bad because, and this is where I'm going to be fickle with this review. I enjoyed the movie until you got to where knowing things going on would have been nice. I understand why they didn't explain things like precisely. I understand why they left some things to interpretation. It is an interesting take on a family drama during what they talk about a few times as a possible virus outbreak. You don't know that. That's my interpretation of it. I assume that's what it is. We don't know how it's passed. You don't know how anything. It literally is just something brooding over the entire movie. And the only issue I had with this movie is not a spoiler, really. I did not enjoy how this movie ended. I'm not going to get into specifics because I don't want to ruin a movie for anybody who wants to see it. Watch this movie. You'll enjoy it. It's very dramatic. It's very intense. You feel the pressure of no one knows what's going on. No one knows who they can trust and who they can't, minus their family. And then the resolution is very abrupt yet clear. But when it happens, there are some questions still up in the air. And that was the only issue I had. Not that I need it to be spelled out for me, not that I need a tight resolution. It just seemed very bang. And then that was that. And I was like, but why like this? Why this way? I will recommend seeing It Comes at Night if you like horror movies, you like scary movies. There's a little bit of gore, not a lot. If you don't like that, you probably can get past it here. There's a little bit of jump scary. There's suspense is high, tense, very tense, and so I'm gonna recommend maybe don't see it in the theater if you don't like scary movies. Rent this. I personally liked seeing it in the theater. I thought it was a fun movie. There were some parts that bothered me, but most movies have issues. It's one of those, I can't necessarily get into detail about the plot without spoiling it. Before the timer goes off, I will say this. Joel Edgerton is great. All the actors in the movie were very good. I enjoyed like I said, the acting was very good all around. The story is interesting, but the resolution bothered me. Therefore, I'm also going to give it a 6. Now, I gave both these movies a 6 and a 7. That's not to say they're bad by any means. I enjoyed them. They were fun popcorn movies, especially The Mummy is a popcorn movie. It Comes at Night, maybe not necessarily the epitome of popcorn, but an interesting study of family drama in very, very intense situations. I'm looking forward to more movies that are coming out soon. Constantly seeing movies because it's something I love to do, and Kevin will hopefully be able to join me for some more soon. We didn't get to quite meet up this weekend to see anything, and that's why it's a solo review. So, as usual, I will say this. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channel. We're constantly doing video games and books and a lot of movies. This summer, there's so many big movies coming out. Spider-Man, Transformers, eventually Justice League, other movies in between all of those that I just can't think of at the moment. There's always new things coming out, and I'm putting them up on our Facebook page at Cover to Credits. The Black Panther teaser trailer came out. That looks awesome. Sadly, I put up a few memorial things for Adam West, who passed away this week. It was kind of sad. As a big Batman fan, seeing the original Batman, the original Batman that I remember from old TV shows. I know there might have been some black and whites way before that, but pass away was a sad thing. And, like I said, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. Share this with your friends if anybody's interested in these movies. And until next time, thank you for staying until after the credits.